What's up, everybody? My name is Big Cam and welcome back to another, not Hot Toys, but another 1/6 scale figure unboxing. And I was going to do another Hot Toys figure, but then this thing just arrived in the mail today. And I was not expecting it today, let alone, I was expecting it's coming from China. Maybe those get lost in the shipping and then I get a refund. It happens more than you'd think. So I didn't expect this to actually arrive at all. And then it arrives at my front door and I was happy as can be because this is one of my favorite characters and one of my favorite, outfits and attire that this character wears. And this is Flashpoint's, I believe that's the company name, Flashpoint, says it on the side there, the Garter. What is that? And I don't know if you can see it on the front of the box there, but kind of like the Skeleton Knight from Present Toys didn't have the copyright to the name Ghost Rider, so they had to call it the Skeleton Knight. It seems this company had to call this figure the Garter. That's a terrible name, but I think we all know what figure this is. Pop off the top. It's got a foam pad on top. Peel that back and expose this figure inside here. Oh boy. This figure, actually, the suit itself looks better than I expected. I'm sure that head sculpt's gonna be terrible, but it comes with a couple of extra hands. Comes with some glasses. Oh, interesting. Very cool. And then it also comes with a swap out head sculpt. What is this head sculpt? Oh, is this like Bully Maguire? Is that Angry Toby? If you guys don't know, this is Spider-Man 1's Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man, if you would. And it does come with a backup head sculpt for some reason. This is more of like a comb over. This is more of like a, yeah, I don't know. Maybe this is more like the Bully Maguire, like the angry Peter. Oh, actually, maybe it's that one scene where he takes off the mask and he's like, "You killed my uncle, did ya?" Like, he gets all angry with him. But it comes with some swap out hands, some glasses. Let's just toss those on, see if those work. It almost works. Little glasses on the PD pocket there. Some clicky ratchets in the shoulders. A decent feeling suit. Like, you can feel how like that OG Toby suit had like the webbing on top of the red. Like, you could almost like see it. And if you were in person, I'm sure you could feel the texture on it. That's kind of how this feels. Like, it's got like the raised webbing. It does have like a light blue, which I believe the blue from the movie was much more dark navy-ish. But this is how I would want it anyways in person, It does have this weird crease in the shoulder there when the arms are down. So maybe that's something you could play with in posing, and maybe you can fix that somehow, some way, I don't know. But I think this is also a type of figure that, it's going to end up covered. He comes with a web whipping hand and like kind of a grabbing hand. So maybe it comes with some webs and stuff. There does seem to be a bottom section to this. Maybe pop out this foam. Ooh, and then it comes with the real reason I bought this figure, and it comes with, I believe, pants, and it comes with like a swap out outfit, and we'll go through that. And comes with some J's, a backpack, comes with a crotch grabber and a nice little base. I wonder if it says Spider-Man on it. It says Flashpoint on it. So it doesn't, but it kind of has like the Spider-Man attire on the top there. I do like that this figure comes with a crotch grabber. Some figures, or most figures today from Hot Toys, come with the, waist grabber or like the flight pole. I prefer the crotch grabber so much more, although you can't get them into as crazy a pose. You can get them into quite a bit of poses just with the crotch grabber, and it works out great. You don't need to force it, you know what I mean? Like, and have this crazy flight pole. Like, Deadpool has a flight pole, and he doesn't need one at all. Granted, you can put some crazy poses on him and whatnot, but like, I think a crotch grabber would do just fine for just about any figure. And I love that, like, these brands that can't get the, exclusive Spider-Man name, like they couldn't put Tobey Spider-Man on the front of this. They just put their like brand Flashpoint, which is better than putting like skeleton knight on the front of it. You know, like I would have rather said that plate say like Present Toys than Skeleton Knight, you know, just to know that it's not a Hot Toys figure, it's aftermarket, but it does look like Ghost Rider, so that does its job just fine. And this doesn't necessarily look like Tobey Maguire spot on, but it does a decent job with the likeness on the face sculpts. And what I really got him for is I'm going to cover up this whole suit anyways, because the backup outfit that it comes with is what I really got it for, and I'm very excited to try that out and see what that looks like. And it also comes with a backpack and some J's. So now we're gonna lay out all of his accessories and everything that this Spider-Man Flashpoint the Garter figure comes with, and lay out everything on the table in front of me and see what this figure's looking like with all of his accessories.
Alright, we have all of his accessories laid out on the desk here for the Garter, which still has to be the worst third-party unlicensed figure name ever. I mean, I thought Skeleton Knight was bad for the Present Toys Ghost Rider, but no. Garter is pretty bad. I mean, they couldn't have done, I'm the human spider. And then Bruce Campbell turns and looks at him and goes, the human spider, that's the worst fucking name ever. And Spider-Man, you know, like, and he introduces him as Spider-Man. He goes, I'm the human spider. Imagine what a different world we would live in if the Spider-Man went by the human spider. I doubt he'd be as popular as he is. But this, unfortunately for me, is my first Tobey Maguire Spider-Man figure. And I have yet to cop, you know, maybe a No Way Home or even the original Spider-Man figures. I know they just did a reboot of like the black suit Spider-Man of Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man from Spider-Man 3. I don't love that suit, but, you know, Bully Maguire, it might be worth it to get that figure. And we kind of have a little Bully Maguire head sculpt here, where the hair is a little bit more matted down. The eyes are, you know, glaring up like he's angry, you know, like kind of a furrowed brow. And he's like, did you kill my uncle? Did you? You know, like... That's the face I picture there, but, you know, we can have a little bit of an angry cowl stare at him. I kind of dig that. He also comes with a backpack that does have functional zipper, but it has, like, just padding in there. But if you wanted to take that out and put stuff in this backpack, you could. The straps on the bag also loosen up with the things here, with the strings here, so that you could put this on the figure if you so well pleased. We'll definitely get that. Now, maybe my favorite detailed thing that they did, this notebook with individual different pages of like Peter's drawings, you know. I always loved that scene in the movie where he was like, it was like a montage of drawings on him settling what his look would be. And then he goes and fights in his classic wrestling suit. You can see the pants and the shirt and the shoes and the mask there with the gloves. So we will try that whole outfit on in a second. But you can see a couple of the other swap out hands. He has some relaxed hands, maybe like a grabbing of the mask hand, or maybe like just kind of like a grabbing of a web hand. He also comes with a hoodie, so you can do the whole outfit. But let's take a closer look at this figure. Yeah, not bad. I mean, there's no glass in the glasses. And, you know, he kind of looks like his Peter Parker version with the glasses. But as soon as he gets the spider powers, he ditches these glasses. So, ditching the glasses. Oh, a little tight on his head. So, ditching the glasses, it kind of has a decent Tobey head sculpt. I mean, not the best. It kind of reminds me of, like, my Captain America from 2012 Avengers, but not like the one from Avengers Endgame, like the original Avengers one. And I have him wearing his, like, helmet because the original head sculpt looks a lot like this. You know, it's close, but it's more like a generic Spider-Man rather than the actual actor that played him. But the actual suit itself feels pretty good. I don't love that crease there, and you can't necessarily put his arms down by his side because of the ratchets in the shoulder. You know, they kind of spring back up, but that's all right. You can probably still get him into some decent poses. The blue material shouldn't, you know, crease or have any terrible damage to it. The rubber might, over a long period of time, if you, like, you know, have them bent like that for a while, that might not love it for a long period of time. So definitely don't want to, you know, leave him in a dynamic pose and destroy this suit. But this is also, you know, an aftermarket figure. So maybe this is the figure that you destroy the suit rather than one of your other nicer ones. He does only come with one set of Spider-Man hands, and one of them's kind of like that Spider-Man relaxed, but also maybe grabbing a wall hand. and then maybe a grabbing of a web hand or holding his mask hand. Now this mask does have like the raised webbing, which does feel good, and the white little, eyeglass or whatever. And you can't slide this on over his head, but you can slide that one on over his head. So we'll get that whole look. You can see it a little bit there in the blue on the box. But these boots, to get those shoes on, slide entirely off. And because of that, and because they're not like glued in place, you get this terrible ankle. But I'm going to be taking this off anyways because I'm probably going to wrap him with that outfit. There's also this display base, which I do love that it comes with a crotch grabber, but it has just a little bit of his suit and like his web design on the top there from Spider-Man 1 with the raised webbing. And then it just has Flashpoint on the front. I mean, I guess you could get a little thing and put it there that says Spider-Man instead of Flashpoint, or maybe cover it. I might do that, but at least it doesn't say the Garter, at least it has just the company name on it. I don't mind that totally. But, just a decent display base, a little thick, but it's all right. But let's throw this bad boy into a couple of different poses before we toss him into that outfit, and then see where he's going to land on my shelf and maybe compare him with a couple of Tom Holland Spider-Man, shall we? All right, not too many poses here, but we have the first one with his Peter Parker in his Spider-Man suit, and he is holding his Spider-Man mask in his other hand. And I actually quite like the raised webbing of the Spider-Man 1 suit, and the texture and feel of the suit doesn't feel so bad. But in the second look we have here, he has his sweatpants on, his hoodie, he's got his Nikes on, and his backpack and his glasses as well, and his notebook in his other hand, because he's off to the library like he told Uncle Ben. And then the third and final outfit, the wrestling outfit, where he didn't go to the library and he actually went to go fight Bonesaw McGraw. And I absolutely love this outfit. I've always loved the way that the red long sleeve top looks and how simple this outfit is, but yet how Spider-Man and how dope it is, and he fights friggin' Randy Savage, Bonesaw friggin' McGraw. Like, come on, man. Like, that first movie is really holds a special place in my heart, and really maybe is what got me into these characters and into this universe, from 2002 on. I absolutely love Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, and I don't think Hot Toys ever did this wrestling outfit of Spider-Man, and this is one of my favorite outfits that Spider-Man has ever worn across any medium. I've always loved this fit, and he's like jumping on rooftops and the Tobey Maguire, woohoo, I can almost hear it in my head, even though I didn't do a good impression of it. There's so many things from this movie, you could have beat that guy with one hand. Now he got away with my money. I forgot the part where that was my problem. So much sass, but, then it doesn't matter if it was your problem or not. And karma, even if it isn't your problem, you probably should have protected the company and beat up that guy, even though he could have done it very easily. He let him go, and then the guy ends up killing his uncle. But then 2 movies later, we find out that that guy didn't kill his uncle, and it was actually Flint Marko, and it was a mistake. But also, yeah, God damn it, Flint Marko, how the hell are you going to kill Uncle Ben? Oh, and it was heartbreaking in the first movie for Peter, oh, Peter, oh, Peter. And then he dies, and you're like, oh, Uncle Ben, no, that's my uncle. He pushes through the crowd. Oh, man, there's so many lines from that movie. I honestly need to go back and watch that Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 1. It's been quite a while, and Sam Raimi made me love Spider-Man so much, so now I got to come back to it and watch it all over again. But why don't we do a couple of figure comparisons for this Spider-Man outfit and see what he's looking like next to a Tommy Holland? Well, Tom Holland's Night Monkey suit, not necessarily on a base, so it looks like he's much smaller, but really it's just the thickness of the base that the Garter Flashpoint Spider-Man is standing on. But, I don't know if this is necessarily a good figure comparison because it's not necessarily Toby's head sculpt and it's not necessarily Tom's homemade suit, but I did find it funny that my 2 least posable Spider-Mans that I have on the shelf, they both are in this kind of similar Spider-Man stance, and I was like, oh, I guess this is just the universal Spider-Man stance, kind of just ready to go at any moment with that Spidey sense. But let's toss this wrestling fit Spider-Man next to the other homemade Spider-Man suit and see what Tom Holland's first suit looks like next to Tobey's first suit. I've never genuinely thought about it like this, where it's like, oh, Tom Holland had a homemade Spider-Man suit and so did Tobey. But now seeing them next to each other, I mean, was Spider-Man Homecoming's homemade suit inspired from this kind of sweatsuit, wrestling suit type of idea? I do like the homemade suit. I do love this base with the giant hologram drone that it's able to stand on. You know, as far as bases go, the technical Spider-Man Far From Home Homecoming suit does look really good, and that base is way better. And, you know, the eyes, the way that the eyes kind of move. But the actual figure itself, I kind of love the red and blues and the Nike shoes of Tobey's wrestling suit. You know, there's just, I don't know if it's nostalgia or if I genuinely think like that. You know what I mean? Like, is it just me remembering Spider-Man 1 so fondly and remembering that scene? And you're in here for 3 minutes. 3 minutes of playtime. You know, like in Bonesaw McGraw beating his goddamn ass all over the ring. And then he beats Bonesaw McGraw's ass all over the ring. The ad said 3,000. Yeah, for 3 minutes. And you pinned him in 2. For that, I give you 100. Oh, what a scumbag that guy was. Doing his best Tony Soprano impersonation. What the hell? Put the money in the bag. Right? Like, what a great movie. So many quotes from that movie that I could just remembering from my soul because I haven't even seen it recently. But let's see what this Spider-Man looks like next to a fully realized Spider-Man with the, you know, full Spider-Man costume, and, you know, what this Tobey Spider-Man might lead to one day. You know what I mean? Well, Mr. Tobey Maguire, do you recognize these Dr. Octopus arms? No? Well, that's because it comes in your second movie. And do you recognize those pumpkin bombs? No, because that comes later in this movie. You know, like, he will fight Dr. Octopus in the second film, and he fights Dr. Norman Osborn's Green Goblin in the first film. Now, I do have a Green Goblin that I have not unboxed yet, and I have been meaning to, so maybe that needs to get unboxed way sooner rather than later. So maybe that will be coming next week. But stay tuned for more. Comment below what you want to see unboxed in the near future. And I do love the way that that Tom Holland black and gold and red, you know, like just enough gold, but just enough black, but just enough pops of red. And it's kind of like his own suit, and it's not just the traditional red and blue suit like we've seen in the past. And honestly, Spider-Man Brand New Day just started filming, and they did a little tease of what that suit might look like in that film. And I don't know if it's going to be the same red and blue suit that we saw at the very, very end of Spider-Man No Way Home, or if it's going to be an entirely new suit altogether. And it seems like it's maybe inspired by Mr. Tobey Maguire's original Spider-Man suit. But now that I have this wrestling figure, and this is my first Tobey fig, and it's a third-party, you know, unlicensed figure, I may need to go get the Hot Toys, you know, Spider-Man, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man from Spider-Man 1, 2, or 3, and really, really got to get those figures now. And seeing this Tobey in front of me and only having Tom Holland's on the shelf, I may need to go grab Andrew and Tobey as Hot Toys 1/6 scale figures. And then I also have that Venom from Spider-Man 2, the PlayStation video game. So I might need to go cop, you know, the red Spider-Man, maybe the Miles from the Spider-Man games, and then that black Spider-Man 2 suit, or maybe even the white anti-Venom Spider-Man 2 suit. So, like, I don't know, man. There's a lot of figures out there. There's a ton of Spider-Mans. Maybe not as many Spider-Mans as there are Iron Man suits, because I believe there's 85 different marks of the Iron Mans. And that's not even to, you know, if they do an Iron Heart in the future, or if, you know, say Tony Stark comes back and then he has another suit, you know, who knows? I don't think they're done with Iron Man suits with Endgame Tony that's back on the shelf over there snapping his fingers. But I am really glad I got this figure. I will pose the warning out there for you people if you guys get this figure. be careful putting the shoes on because I did bust one of my ankles. So one of those shoes is sitting on there sturdy and the other one isn't so sturdy, you know? So if I picked up that figure off there, the shoe would probably fall off onto the ground, you know, like the actual ankle peg itself, not like the ball joint that goes into the peg. The actual peg itself broke in the ankle. So I don't know how that happened or if it came kind of cracked and I just broke it the rest of the way. But that is kind of a pain in the ass, and, you know, probably why I only did 3 poses this episode. So I was going to toss this figure in a couple more poses and toss him next to the other Spider-Mans, but those have been your figure comparisons. Those were some poses, and I was going to toss him on the shelf, but I don't know where he's going to go, so I might need to do a little bit of rearranging in here, and then we'll have a place to put him. But if you guys made it this far in the video, I really appreciate you guys so much. My name is Big Cam. Thank you guys so much for coming on by. If you'd like to follow my other social medias, links for those down in the description below. If you'd like to support the channel, the best way to do that is liking this video, commenting down in the comment section below, subscribing if you haven't already, and make sure you hit that bell so you don't miss future Hot Toys unboxings and unboxing videos coming every weekend. Thank you guys so much for coming on by. Once again, my name is Big Cam, and I will see you beautiful people in the next video. Peace.